Welcome back to the All Sports Network. Today, this is kind of a different thing we're doing. Ignore the flashing. We're watching the Lakers Mavericks game right now. But today we're gonna be discussing the Blazers and how, and just kind of their struggles and maybe what they should do moving forward.
As a Blazers fan, it's been quite a year where it was from, wow, they started out really well. CJ McCollum was looking like an all-star. Nurkic didn't start off great, but he's always very consistent passing-wise, so that at least helps offensively. Dame's always Dame. He's outstanding. But then it went downhill. CJ got hurt, but actually a lot of guys like Gary Trent Jr. who ended up getting traded, which we'll get into, really stepped up in CJ's absence, and Dame was looking like a viable MVP, case, and he was really carrying them, and it was kind of impressive. And then finally, CJ and Nurkic come back, and we're like, finally, the team's healthy. We're gonna go up to the 3 seed. With the Lakers were hurt at the time. The Clippers were going through, typical Clippers things over the last couple of years of injuries and whatnot.
No, yeah.
And here we are now, where they're only half a game above the Dallas Mavericks, and I want to say, at one point, going into April, they were almost 5 games ahead of the Mavericks, a good amount of games ahead, and it's kind of ridiculous to only be half a game above the Mavericks. And my question to you is, what do you think's been their biggest, downfall after getting everyone back?
Let's say everyone's healthy and stuff. I think this team needs more defense. And on top of defense, honestly, I feel like this team needs more playmaking, honestly.
Yeah, they definitely do lack that. They don't have
the
biggest thing that they've lacked, even when they went to the Western Conference Finals, they had how could you be Mo Harkless and, Upper Camino.
Yeah.
They've never had a true backup point guard.
No, yeah.
I mean, they had Steve Blake there for a long, long time ago, but, they've never had a true backup point guard. Anthony Simons, interesting prospect.
But he's definitely more of a scorer.
Yeah, he's more looking to score than to be a backup point guard. And I always thought Patty Mills would be perfect backup point guard here, or someone like that. You know what I mean? Like George Hill. And they don't have that in defense. Defense is horrendous. We were talking about this earlier, and it's so true. Besides probably Mo Harkless and some other guys, it seems like good defensive players, when they go to Portland, get worse.
Yeah.
Covington's he's still pretty good off ball, but he's just getting blown by and allowing wide open layups. It's just kind of contagious there. Seems like Norman Powell's defense instantly has dropped since getting to Portland. Nurkic, I think it's purely based on injuries, is why his regression.
I think so. I think it's just injuries as well, honestly. Especially how often he gets hurt. I wouldn't be surprised if the games he has played, he hasn't been at 100%, honestly.
Oh, probably not. Probably 90%.
Yeah, so.
If even that. And then Gary Trent Jr., who they had for a while, was pretty good defensively there. But a bit inconsistent, which I expect from a young player.
Yeah, actually, in all honesty, I think Gary Trent, I don't think he's that far behind Norman Powell. And honestly, I think he'll take him I think he'll become the better player by next season.
Right, they're already pretty comparable players.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could honestly say Gary Trent is just as good, if not better now, and I wouldn't really argue that, to be honest with you.
Really? Yeah, he's just a taller, younger Norman, basically, is what the Raptors got.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Which is insane to think about, really. Because he's 22. Gary Trent, Norman Powell's 27?
Yeah,
going 28?
Okay, 28, yeah.
Yeah, and so 6-year difference. And yeah, I think Toronto, I think they definitely won the trade, honestly.
I would say too. And then, in Portland's defense, it was going to be tough to retain Gary Trent. I guess they felt more comfortable paying Norman Powell the same money they were going to pay Gary Trent Jr. I'm sure we'll get into different scenarios, which might lead to a CJ trade or whatnot, but let's finish on kind of the players that are there right now. And defense-wise, the Derrick Jones Jr. Signing, some Blazers fans liked it. I really didn't. Not that he's a bad player by any means, but if he's coming off your bench for 10 minutes or something, or 15 like he would with the Miami Heat, perfect. If he's just He's no longer, but he was their starting small forward for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty rough. Just he's very limited offensively, and he is athletic, and he'll have like a monster block, like the block on LeBron he had in the early season, but really he's not that great defensively. He's pretty skinny and he gets blown by a lot. So if he's like an interesting guy you can throw out there, like a fullback in football, where you can for like a play or two, and people don't know what to do. But at the end of the day, he's not good for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I was actually pretty surprised though, because what we saw in Miami, he wasn't really playing that much, and so I think that's why he was pretty darn good in Miami, is because he was doing really good though in those 12 minutes though he was getting. It was pretty nice to see, and it made him look like a really good defensive player. But now seeing him in that starting spot, in Portland and all that though, he just honestly doesn't seem like that good of a defensive player. Honestly, he really just looks like an athletic guy who likes to finish at the basket.
Yeah, funny enough, their best defender only plays like 12 minutes a game, and Nasir Little. He's definitely shown the most flashes. Cantor was in there for a while. We all know his weakness is defensively. He just gets cooked in pick and rolls and whatnot.
Yeah, and they gave up, was it 2 first-rounders for Covington?
Yeah, 2 first-rounders.
Yeah, and now that seems like that was one heck of an overpay.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, especially seeing as how, this Rockets team seems like they were pretty eager to get rid of certain players and all that. You could have probably gotten Covington for a lot less, honestly.
Yeah, no kidding, especially if you wait throughout the season, and saying that Saddiq Bey, who probably would have, he was drafted, I want to say 17th to the Pistons, and the Blazers would have been drafting 16th or 14th, 16th. They would have had the 16th pick, and it seemed pretty locked in before they traded the pick.
Yeah.
That they would have taken Saddiq Bey, who, we talked about this earlier before recording, but we really like him. Like, he's probably, Covington is one of the best team defenders in the league.
Yeah.
He is definitely he's not weak individually. It's been not terrible, but to his standards, he's no elite, individual defender, but he's definitely a really good individual defender. Like, the level that he's fallen to is kind of ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely.
And I'm not sure if it's all on him or if it's, coaching, scheme, fit, but it's not like he's trading his defense to going up to 16 points per game.
Yeah.
He's averaging less than he has in a while with 8.
Yeah.
And it was pretty rough for a while. Like, he's shooting it better and scoring more lately, but it wasn't like his offense was a step up to his defense.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, honestly, I viewed him as the perfect role player not that long ago, because he was getting 12, 13 points per game. But he was also playing elite defense. He was literally the definition of 3-and-D. And now, like he said, because he's not even getting 10 points anymore, and he's also not playing that good of defense, really.
Yeah, he's not even closing some games for the Blazers anymore.
Yeah, and usually you want to have a guy like that in your closing lineup. It's kind of crazy. I mean, last year we saw this guy at times playing center. And all that though, and holding his own. Now it doesn't really seem like it. I don't know if it's because he exited his prime right away, or if it's because he knows the situation, he just doesn't like playing in Portland.
Yeah, I'm really not sure about that one. And then to go back to Saddiq Bey, I'm not going to say he's a better defender than Covington, because he's not.
Yeah.
But there's definitely you're seeing the capability and the potential that he could be, and you're going to have control of him on his rookie contract for 4 more years.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And he's already shown the ability that he can put up 25 in a game. We've seen it throughout Covington's career. We haven't seen it this year out of Covington.
We haven't seen it the last few years.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and you know what? He's not supposed to, and that's okay. But yeah, and Covington, he has 2 years left on his deal. I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 years left on his deal. And honestly, once he's done, he's probably gonna get most $6 million.
Yeah, probably close to minimum guy, $6 million.
Yeah,
He'll definitely be a cheap pickup. I don't blame the Blazers for picking him up, because for doing that trade, because I was actually excited.
Well,
about
we didn't know he would fall off like this. Yeah.
He still looks athletic to me. He doesn't look done quite yet. It just looks like he's not comfortable yet, which is, it could be, short and I don't want to give the Blazers all excuses because, I'm a fan, so it is easy for me to throw out biased opinions and whatnot, but I'm going to try not to do that throughout this video. But, it could just be because new system, weird Rockets year. Like, that was just a weird team. Like, it seems like that they had a lot of weird things behind the scenes. But it is a similar team where it is all offense, and he was able to go in on defense with the Rockets at least, and he was shooting better with the Rockets, but he also got more opportunities, so maybe it could be because he's getting less touches offensively.
I feel like he really needs, you can't be, Covington cannot be your best defender out there, in my opinion. Last year, for example, we saw PJ Tucker out there, and because he was their best defender, though, and he played really well alongside PJ Tucker, They had some great plays together, though. And before that, though, I'm not going to count Minnesota because that does, they didn't do anything. But in Philly, it's like we saw him, though, with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and he played really well there, So I just feel like he needs to be surrounded by other defensive players. Because like we said, he's a really, really good team defender. The problem with that, though, is if you're the only guy really playing defense, I bet it can get challenging for him.
You bring up a good point. He's always, not to discredit him, that's not what we're trying to do here, but
no. Yeah.
He's always played around elite defenders like Jimmy Butler. Wiggins was all right defensively. Like, he always showed potential with the Timberwolves. But obviously Butler was the guy there.
I don't think Butler played with.
You're right. Yeah,
they traded for each other.
Yep, you're right. Sorry. In Philly, he was with Embiid, Simmons, and whatnot.
Yeah.
I guess I should just count out Minnesota because,
that's what I did.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Completely got the timelines mixed up there. And then we'll move into the backcourt. It is tough for, because Dame is this, undersized guard. And honestly, scoring guards like him are always going to prioritize their offense over defense, but that's not to mean that he doesn't try on defense, because he does. He's
just not a good defender.
No, he gives his effort. I would say it's not killer to the Blazers, but it can be at times, against a team like the Lakers, if LeBron gets onto him, just because, there's no one that the Blazers can throw right back at LeBron real quick. So it's kind of either way, LeBron's a terrible matchup to anyone. And it's funny, one of Charles Barkley's best takes was Shaq was saying that the Hawks were 2 players away, and Chuck went, LeBron and AD. I thought that was pretty funny, but okay, there's no one you can throw on those guys, but it doesn't help when it's Dame or CJ CJ's not that tall. He's 6'3". Not to say he's short, but he's average point guard height, not super big, saying he's your shooting guard and whatnot. So it is a smaller backcourt. I would say CJ's better defensively, just size-wise, and they both do try. It is funny enough. They're 2 pretty good rebounders for their size. They do like to go rebound, but you can definitely see why they're not as good as they could be defensively, just based on their backcourt. But when you're getting 50 points a night from your backcourt, you'll always take that. You would just hope some of your wing defenders, which they've always lacked and not been good at trading or drafting yet for those.
Yeah, honestly, they're back. Honestly, I feel like I don't know. It's not really that hard, in my opinion, really, to get 50 points from your backcourt. I don't really feel like you have to do it with 200 size. I mean, we were seeing it with Gary Trent, while CJ McCollum was injured. When was Gary Trent? When he was put in the starting lineup, when did he not average, 20 points per game, at least? And that was really impressive, I think, from Gary Trent, that's really why I wanted the Blazers to keep him, honestly. But yeah, and so, in my opinion, I do believe one of them really does have to go. Just because I get it, though, because they do have, they have formed this friendship and whatnot, and they really want to stick together. But when you have, two guards, on max deals and all that, though, makes things more difficult.
Yeah, we're not pro always the ESPN and the bigger places where you have to get everyone to a big market. It can't work. You always got to split it up. That's not us, really. But it just does seem like it has run its course, and that's not they've done amazing things. I think people forget how bad Portland was before, LaMarcus Aldridge. CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard got there. They really changed Portland to becoming a team that we could consider possibly making some moves and shaking it up and maybe making a run.
Yeah.
You always pretty much lock them in for the playoffs over these last 9 years that they've been there. So that's really cool for them and, something they should be really proud of. But I do just think it is within these next couple of years, unfortunately, even though, they really like each other. It's just one of them is going to have to go and it's not going to be Dame. Like, Dame's just too good to trade yet unless he,
Which is funny, too, though, because, CJ McCollum might actually be better suited for a championship team. Yeah, which is weird to think about, honestly.
It's a tough one. You can make an argument for it, but I think it'll ultimately end up being CJ would be moved first.
Oh, yeah, because Dame is Portland.
Yeah.
But I feel like Dame would just never let that happen.
No, I don't think so either.
And in turn, I feel like that's kind of hindering their chances, really, of ever making a championship run.
I still think it is possible if they can somehow convince another star to get in there. And I don't think I think they should have kept Gary Trent Jr. I think that they should have just swallowed the money. I don't even think it would be swallowing the money. 15 to 20 million is probably what he would have gotten.
He's probably going to get 25, honestly.
25?
Probably going to get 25, yeah.
That's not terrible. They're going to be able to trade that unless he just falls off all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I don't think he will, though. I was honestly, I don't know, I was kind of hoping, because honestly, I feel like Gary Trent, he's a special talent, one you want to keep. And, I was honestly hoping, because when they said they want to make a move, I assumed they were going to make a move to trade Derrick Jones or something.
I thought it would have involved getting Aaron Gordon, which I wish they would have gone and done.
Yeah, that would have been...
That would have helped them
out.
out.
I just said Derrick Jones. That would have created more cap room and stuff.
Oh, right. I'm saying it's not having Gary Trent trade like having Derrick Jones and like Rodney Hood, and I'm fine giving him Simons. Like, honestly, he's never going to get to flourish. And
not with Dame and CJ. No. It is pretty weird seeing their three-guard dynamic, though, because they're all undersized and stuff like that, and... let's say Dame is healthy and has a better roster. I still think he's going to get schooled by a team like the Lakers, honestly.
It's very possible.
We saw with Westbrook, what happened to him, though, where, Westbrook is supposed to be one of the better finishers in the game, though, and, someone like LeBron just toyed with him, and, I love Dame, though, but, I just don't see how that really wouldn't happen to him, because... he's an undersized guard, though, and, guys like LeBron, they like to pick on undersized guards and stuff. Rarely have I ever seen them really flourish, like a Steph Curry or like a Donovan Mitchell against OKC and stuff like that.
Yeah, honestly, unless they got, like, Kawhi and, like, Aaron Gordon as their, like, forwards, even would be, like, their only chance. Like, it would take an elite, like, scoring wing that can play great defense, like a PG, a Kawhi, and... I just don't see them getting someone like that maybe yet. And then to go back to the Gary Trent Jr., it's not like he's small. He's like 6'7", 6'6", sorry. He's 6'6" with a long wingspan.
Yeah, I just don't. It's really, I don't know. I feel like Covington's probably having flashbacks, honestly, because now he's playing small ball again, basically, I mean, because Norman Powell, we all know he's going to play small forward, And, I don't know. I wouldn't really want a 6'3" small forward.
No, honestly. I know his wingspan is crazy long, and it's like 6'9", maybe in the 7. So,
oh, really?
That's he's very long that way. So it's something that you can really feel comfortable putting him at small forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wish they would have kept Gary Trent Jr. I know I like Norman Powell. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a very good player, and does he help their chances more this year? You can make an argument. I don't think so. I think Gary Trent Jr. is just about the same, and I think you could get him to step up a level defensively, and I think you're seeing Norman Powell's maxed out. Like, we've seen what he can do.
Oh, yeah, he's not going to get better. No.
He might average more points in the game because he won't be coming off the bench now.
Yeah.
Like, he could probably get easily, he's 19. He could probably get up to 22 possibly.
Yeah.
Points per game, but we're not going to see a whole bunch of, we're not going to see another jump in his game. Like, he's already a good 3-level scorer. He's pretty much is what he is. Like, Gary Trent Jr., in my opinion, is not a 3-level scorer. Not yet. And he has the ability to get there. So I think that there's a possibility that, obviously, that he could get better in every aspect. And it is hard to pass up on someone that you did draft in the second round. Like, you got a steal there. You did a good job. Like, they're good at developing and drafting those players. It's good. It's... trading them for the right pieces and retaining them is something that they should definitely work on.
Yeah. I mean, It's a shame, honestly, because I don't know. I just kind of wish this organization was really more bent on winning. Seeing as James Harden won it out. I know you probably weren't one of the teams on his list, but I don't know. I would kind of look at that and be like, okay, McCollum, you gotta go. Because James Harden goes there, that's an automatic contender. And yeah, so it sucks though, because it's I'm not a Blazers fan at all though, but I mean it was like for any fan seeing this how they have these max players on their team, and max players that maybe shouldn't be max players, and they can't, and they're just they're not able to get moved, yeah. It's just no, it's a shame though. One of my theories though is that I could see this team maybe getting Joel Embiid in the future if Philly were to go with Ben Simmons and trade Embiid, seeing as how I assume at one point, because Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, they don't have the relationship that Dame and CJ have, at least that we know of, but yeah, because I don't really see any other players in the future really getting moved, for. Yeah, I don't really see the Blazers really getting anyone,
I think it's going to be tough for them to get someone free agency wise.
Free agency, I think that's impossible, honestly. They don't have the money, nor do they have,
They don't have anything to lure them. Portland is a very nice city, but I don't think a whole bunch of superstars are thinking of Portland as their first option, unless they, somehow draft the next, Kevin Durant, LeBron, or Steph Curry, another elite talent, I should say.
Yeah, no,
that just,
sure.
Like a Michael Porter Jr. actually might be a good example.
Mm-hmm.
If they get someone like that, possibly, which is possible because they do draft well. It's if they, give that player the.
Yeah, their drafting doesn't seem that bad. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of incredible how, just kind of how bad they are at really keeping their players and stuff. And they just moved 2 first-round picks for Covington, which is, I don't know. It's kind of looked at. It kind of seems like a joke now, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, first-round picks are not valued in the NBA anymore. But still, I think one definitely could have done the deal, or even a player, Zach, I don't know, contract-wise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like Rodney Hood in a second rounder or something. I don't know. Yeah. But excuse me, they've always been linked to Philly with a possible trade. It was always Ben Simmons, and possibly we'll see how that goes. I
think Ben Simmons, honestly, for any team would be the best restart.
I think Daryl Morey would love a player like CJ, but I don't think it would be Embiid. Who knows? I think at the end of the day, it will be one of those things where it's going to be one of Dame's last couple years on his contract. And I know he's super loyal and he always talks about that to Portland, but at some point he's got to look at what's best for him. And I think his legacy, and we'll always love him in Portland. Portland fans will always love him. He'll always be accepted and whatnot. So you'd be dumb if you got mad if he left because the franchise didn't do enough for him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think Terry Stotts, he has his flaws as a coach, but he's definitely a good NBA coach.
Yeah, and I think honestly, it's both sides really.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah.
Dale Shea gets none of the, backlash that he should. He's always praised for all these moves that are supposed to work out, and how often are they working out? Yeah, they've worked out. They got to the Western Conference Finals. Great. You ran into the Warriors. You weren't better than them.
Well, I mean, it's honestly a shame, especially in the West, when you go to the Western Conference Finals and you're still not looked at as a threat.
Yeah, it is tough because there's a lot of. It's just weird with this Portland team because you can always just throw it to, well, what are they supposed to beat the Warriors? They weren't going to beat the Warriors unless they had Kawhi and LeBron on their team.
Yeah.
What are they supposed to beat the Rockets at the time? They probably weren't going to beat the Rockets. The Pelicans, that was very embarrassing. That was pretty tragic, actually. But I feel like most teams that aren't the Warriors type, I keep throwing it to the Warriors, but you're probably going to have a collapse unless you're the LeBron type. And that's no disrespect to Dame, I feel like, because he is outstanding. He has the ability to carry a franchise through a couple series and whatnot, maybe even to the finals with the right players and whatnot. But
I personally don't really think he can carry. I don't really think he's past carrying the first round, honestly.
With this roster, no, he's not. But maybe with the potential of Ben Simmons or someone like that, which who knows. But to get back to my point with this final year of the contract, I think they'll just start throwing out trades. They'll get a star in there, and it could or could not work. besides CJ. So I think it's just going to end in a mess, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever get a star, to be honest with you, just because cap, their cap situation.
Well, I mean, it would be like CJ would be traded for
Oh,
someone.
CJ
They would
trade?
throw a lot away to get someone.
Oh, okay. But even that, because it's, even through their difficulties this season, so, I don't see really Dame changing his mind at all or anything like that, about CJ and stuff like that. And, because I don't know, Dame seems like one of those guys, though, that just will stick with that franchise. Honestly, if they were to get a better player than CJ, which is, wouldn't be impossible. We know that. Dame seems like one of those guys would probably be pretty pissed, honestly, if they did that,
Yeah, no, you can't blame him for being loyal and whatnot. It's a rare trait and a good trait to see, but
yeah,
it just sucks as a fan, as the Blazers, because, like, they give you so many cool moments. You have the Dame game winners. Dame time's always awesome. CJ hits some big shots. They always,
yeah.
Until recently, they usually step up big in the fourth quarter defensively, weirdly. They're actually make some key stops and whatnot until late, like I was saying. But they are just, like, they're tough to be a fan of because, you always have optimism of them getting in the playoffs and maybe even winning a series or two. But at the end of the day, it is tough when you know that you're not going to win the finals and you're stuck in a spot. I feel like we're in the worst spot almost. Other fans will be like, what? Well, you have Dame and you're going to know you're going to make the playoffs and whatnot. But, like, the future, if Dame leaves in them, it's not pretty. And it's not like, we have a tank where we could possibly be like, oh, we have the first overall pick. This could be fun. We'll see what happens with this pick. We're just kind of stuck in the, making the playoffs, first round exit or being a second round exit. And you're just kind of stuck in that range unless something gives. And probably it's going to be Terry Stotts first, and then we'll see what happens after that. And there's not another coach I'm dying for them to go get.
Yeah, honestly, I was... once Kenny Atkinson stepped down, I thought he was going to go to a place like Portland or whatever, Because in my opinion, I think Kenny Atkinson's a great coach, and it's pretty surprising he doesn't have a job right now. But honestly, I feel like this team... I feel like once Dame... He's not there yet, in my opinion. But I feel like once he gets to the age where the team knows, like, yeah, nothing's going to happen, I think they'll blow it up.
Oh, no doubt. They definitely
yeah, I think, because here's the thing, though. We all like to think organizations are, loyal and whatnot. But I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't really be surprised if in a year or 2 or 3 or whatever, we see Dame get moved for 5 overall picks.